This is how to make Nigerian vegetable soup that is thick and not watery. Today, I'm making edikaikong with ugu and water leaves, and I'm showing you the secret to getting it rich and perfectly cooked. We are not adding any extra water to this soup, just using the water that comes from the vegetables themselves. Hi my people, my name is Mo. Welcome back to the channel. Let's get into it. For this vegetable soup recipe, the star ingredients are water leaves and ugu leaves. These two vegetables are what make authentic Nigerian vegetable soup. The ratio I'm using is 50% water leaves and 50% ugu leaves. But here is something important. If you want to avoid watery soup, you can do 40% water leaves and 60% ugu leaves. Why? Because water leaves is mostly water and we'll be using only the water from the water leaves to cook the soup without adding additional water. I have picked and chopped my vegetables off camera to save time. After chopping, I added some salt to my water leaves with enough water, then rinse them off 2 to 3 times. This helps remove any form of dirt in the vegetables. I did the same thing for the ugu leaves, added salt and enough water, rinsed them thoroughly 2 to 3 times. Then I set them in separate bowls under a sieve to drain the water completely. I started with the vegetables first because I want the water to drain completely before I use them. This is crucial for preventing your soup from being too watery. While they are draining, I can prepare everything else. Let me tell you something interesting about these vegetables. Water leaf contains calcium, phosphorus, vitamin C, vitamin E, magnesium, potassium, and dietary fiber. It also contains small amounts of healthy fatty acids. Ugu leaves contain vitamin E, K, and C, as well as calcium, iron, magnesium, potassium, and plant protein. Even after cooking, the soup still delivers a rich mix of these nutrients. That is a lot packed into one bowl. In fact, many Nigerians request edikaikong after illness because it is nutrient-dense and nourishing. For the pepper mix, I'm using Scotch bonnet pepper, also known as rodo, and onions only. You can use the amount of pepper you can tolerate. I like pepper, so I use quite a lot. I'm using my small mortar and pestle to grind the pepper into a rough consistency. I don't want my pepper base to be completely smooth. I want some extra texture in there. You can also use a grater or food processor to achieve this if you don't have a mortar. And if you have a blender, you can just use the pause button to get that rough texture. For this recipe, I'm using chicken. You can use any protein of your choice: beef, turkey, goat meat, snail, whatever you prefer. And you can use a combination of proteins. You can use turkey and chicken, beef and goat meat. So in my pot, I added the washed chicken, onions, stockfish, seasoning cube, salt, and some pepper. I gave it a good stir. Then I cover it and let it steam on low heat for about 10 minutes. So 10 minutes later, I opened it up. I stirred it a bit. You can see that the water has dried. Then I added my washed pomo with just a little bit of water, just enough for it to cook properly. I'm using soft chicken, so it won't take long to cook since I already steamed it first. Just 15 minutes more and our chicken is properly cooked. Here is the key. We need the water to dry up completely because we are using only the water from the water leaf to cook our soup. So if you are using beef or a tougher protein, you will need to add more water and increase the cooking time. Just make sure the water dries up at the end. Once the water dried up, I removed it from the heat. I changed my pot because the first one felt too small for the quantity of soup I want to make. So you can continue using your pot if your pot is big enough for the quantity of soup you are making. Then I poured the cooked protein into the new pot, then went in with my ground pepper, washed dried catfish, seasoning cubes, salt, crayfish, and palm oil. Please adjust the seasoning to your tastes. If you don't use seasoning cube, you can use whatever you like. So I gave everything a good stir, covered it, and let it cook for about 6 to 7 minutes. Now, if you're finding this helpful so far, my people, please tap that like button. It really helps the channel to grow. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more recipes like this. Thank you. It is time to check on our soup base. After 7 minutes, you can see that the soup base has cooked nicely and there is no water in it at all. Just the oil and flavors from all the ingredients. This is exactly what we want before adding our vegetables. I'm going in with the water leaf first. This is very important. The water leaf goes in first because we are using the water from the water leaf to cook the soup. This is what gives vegetable soup its unique consistency without making it watery. I didn't pour all the water leaf at once because it might be difficult to stir if I do that. So I poured the first batch, stirred it gently, then went in with the second batch of water leaf and stirred again. Immediately after stirring the water leaf, I added the ugu leaves. I didn't cover and cook the water leaf first. As soon as I finished stirring the water leaf in, I went straight in with the ugu leaves and stirred gently to combine everything together. I also reduced the heat while stirring. The reason I didn't cover and allow the water leaf to cook for a while before adding the ugu leaves is because I want to control the level of water coming out from the water leaves. If you cover the water leaves while cooking, they will release much water and we don't want that. So I stirred the soup gently until the vegetables and the sauce were well incorporated. Then I turned off the heat. I did this for 2 reasons. First, we still need the freshness and crunchiness of our vegetables. Overcooking vegetables make them lose their nutrients and that fresh taste. Second, I'm going to store some of this soup in the freezer, and the heat in the pot is enough to cook it further. Plus, whenever you want to eat the frozen soup, you are still going to eat it up anyways, so it will cook more then. I had some right after cooking and I really enjoyed the crunchiness and freshness of the vegetables. That is how vegetable soup should be. Vibrant, fresh, and full of flavors. You can enjoy this Nigerian vegetable soup with any swallow of your choice: fufu, eba, pounded yam, or semovita. You can also pair it with rice or even have it alone as a full meal. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you prefer more ugu or more water leaf in your vegetable soup. Thank you for watching, my people. I will see you in the next one.